Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stock and I'm here to bring you the latest and greatest news that I've found in the stock market. Today I would like to take a look at NIO, the upcoming NIO day that we have, the news regarding the Chinese EV companies that includes NIO, XPeng, and Li, and then also Plug Power had something interesting happen in the after hours. I think that's worth taking a look at also. This is for entertainment purposes only. I do trade in some of these stocks myself. This is my opinion, my point of view. Make sure that if you're going to trade in these stocks that you do your own research, your own due diligence, contact your financial advisor before making any financial decisions. Without further ado, let's get ready to rock. Before we get started, take a look down in the description. If you haven't signed up for Webull, you really should do it. It is a really nice trading platform. You sign up, you get 2 free stocks. Deposit $100, you get 2 more free stocks. I get 2 free stocks for you guys signing up. It helps support this channel. There's a Patreon on the horizon with a Discord to follow where we can talk nothing but stocks all day, trying to find the best opportunities in the stock market, trying to inform our perspectives so we can improve our own due diligence to make the best trades possible. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video, share it out with your friends. All right, on to business. So NIO has NIO Day coming up on January the 9th. It's highly anticipated. We should find out more about their autonomous driving. I hear that level 4 autonomous driving is something that might be announced, and so fingers crossed on that. They have their NT 2.0 technology that they're featuring. They have a first ever sedan coming out to go along with their other 3 vehicles that they have in their line. I believe it's the EC6, ES6, ES8, and the sedan that's expected to be announced. So that'll be a total of 4 vehicles in the lineup. Let me do my screen share. I'll show you some of the numbers surrounding the recent reports with their vehicle sales. They really are trending along with the EV market. They really are blowing up. And we'll also talk about how that ties in with the stock price. We'll talk about the other Chinese vehicles, and then we'll talk about Plug. Let me switch over to the screen share. Okay, so here's a little bit of information on NIO Day. It tells us what to expect about the first sedan. Right here, I think this part, the 150 kilowatt hour battery that they mentioned would be astounding. That sets the range of the EVs to be over the range that we get with ICE vehicles. This 900 kilometers that they are reporting here, that's around, I don't know, 500 to 600 miles per charge on that 150 kilowatt hour battery pack that they have coming out, being compatible with all the other existing models that could go in immediately upon the production of that 150 kilowatt hour battery. That would be something that would be an immediate boost, something that I think that would be really marketable to the NIO owners. The upgrade that they're talking about here for the driver assist platform named NT 2.0, if this upgrade moves us up to level 4 of autonomous driving, I think that NIO will have a really big selling point. I think it'll bring a lot of excitement in. The further we get to that autonomous driving level where it's just fully autonomous driving, no driver needed, I believe it's 6 levels, the first company to produce that is going to go through the roof. That means bringing in fleet vehicles that we could use transportation as a service, which is something that was even mentioned by ARK Invest. That would really take NIO to the next level as an automaker. Finally, the second-gen battery swap stations. They're supposed to be more comprehensive than the first generation of battery swap stations. So NIO Day, is it all hype? Is it something that we should really be excited about? Based on the numbers that they released on January the 3rd about their vehicles delivered, that they went over 100%, and then vehicles delivered in the last 3 months of December 2020, also increasing, doubled year over year. Finally, the total number of vehicles doubled, and cumulative deliveries that they've had as of December, 75,000 vehicles distributed. They're in a growing industry. They themselves are experiencing a lot of that growth. In order to double over those years is an exciting thing for any investors in this company and for the EV market in general. So NIO already has an exciting product. They already have vehicles that are being sold. There are some risks here, some things that we have weighing on it. Back in December of 2020, it says Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act that we have. And this last sentence right here It says if the board is unable to inspect the issuer's public accounting firm for 3 consecutive years, the issuer's securities are banned from trade. This is when we talked about the delisting for the foreign companies, and NIO is a foreign company. It's based in China. In 3 years' time, they could be delisted if they don't agree to the inspection. As investors, it's something to be concerned about. It's something that we should keep on our minds when we trade in foreign companies. The other thing to mention, something that affects the Chinese stocks that are in the stock market right now, is the US government restricting Americans from buying shares of Alibaba and Tencent because of claims to having ties with the Chinese military. So let's switch over to the charts. We'll take a look at NIO first, then XPEV, then Li. All right, so here's the daily chart for NIO, and I'd like to go back as far as this high point that we've had back here on November the 24th. My first holding that I had in NIO, I sold here. I felt that the EV market was run up just too far, too fast. I sold my position, and when I re-entered, I believe I re-entered right around like the 42 or $44 mark. So there was a little bit of time over the past few months here that I was in red. Most of the time I spent it in the green, and I'm in the green right now. So from here, it drops all the way down to this area of support right at about 38.43. The important thing to look at here is that our next low is higher, and then our next low is higher after that, and then our most recent low that we had today, and this is an interesting day, we'll get there soon. After this low, we look at the highs now. So we had this high on this bar, on this candle of 48.30. We go even higher yet, 49.84. Couldn't quite crack 50. It came ripping back down, but then we come out to even higher highs after that. All the way over here, we had a high of 55.28. The stock market was looking great today, and then the news came out about the trading restrictions with Baba and Tencent, and then that just became bad news. We're still very bullish. We have higher lows. We have higher highs coming into this. We still have this area of resistance sitting right at about 54.50. We did pop up a little bit above that today, 55.28. So it's not quite a double top here, but that's still an area of resistance for us. So from $54 to $55, we're currently sitting at $50 right now. We're currently sitting at about $50 right now. So recovering 8 to 10% between the next 2 days, depending on how the market reacts to the news of the trading ban with Tencent and Baba. Depending on how that fallout goes, it could keep this price down for a little while. There was trouble in DC today, and that causes market uncertainty. It will weigh on the market. I was up 3% today, and then the DC news hit, and that almost wiped out any gains that I had in my portfolio. That it almost took me back down to even after being up 3%. So that was quite a swing, because I said, hey, it's a green day, it's a good day, and then brought me right back down to just about even as a result. So this week we have outside factors weighing on NIO, not necessarily with NIO itself. So I see that as only temporary as long as the news with trading with China, it stays good. I think we'll break this resistance, breaking that previous high of 57.20. I don't know if that'll happen Monday when the pre-market opens. That will go beyond that, or if the anticipation leading up to NIO Day will take us up there, or if it'll be a case of selling the news. We'll have to see as the week plays out. I can say that they're a growing company. They're putting out really good numbers. I think that they're going to beat expectations when it comes to their earnings and their vehicle production and their vehicle sales. Everything looks very green, fundamentally speaking, for NIO. So I don't know if it'll get us to the 90 or the 100, but I think there's a lot of growth to be seen as this company matures, as they go forward into 2021. And if their new sedan sells really well, 2022 could also be a really good year. As those earnings come out and as we get good news with those earnings, I think we're going to see a lot of jumps in a very green future for NIO. Okay, here's the 30-minute chart. This is Monday, the week of NIO Day, which is on January the 9th, and we took almost a straight shot up. It went a little bit too fast at first, came back down, and then had a nice little linear progression. Went to the pre-market. Some people locked in their profits, came back up again, slightly lower low. Maybe they thought that was overbought over here, and then into today finally, and you can see we had a lot of resistance right around the 54.45 mark. We maxed out at 55.28, and we're pretty straight across otherwise. And then this big red bar, I mean, you can see pretty much the exact moment that the news came out about the possible trade restrictions with Baba and Tencent. We just ripped straight down, oversold the half hour following, stock market close, we start to come back up a little bit. If we put the Bollinger Bands on that to see what these prices were like, and again, I like to use the Bollinger Bands because they, in between the top band and the bottom band, we get to see the typical or the usual values that we have. Today was pretty usual. Besides that high, which came ripping back down, that's probably been outside of 3 standard deviations away from the mean. Here we're also a little bit high, and then otherwise we have pretty fairly normal values. And then we get to this one, bad news comes out, rips down, so unusual, but the news was unusual, and it stayed from here, all these unusually low values. And that's why in the aftermarket, you can see that we recovered a little bit coming back in closer to that. The news didn't say that the ban was going to happen against NIO. The news said companies suspected to be associated with the Chinese military. NIO just reacted in sympathy to that news because it's a Chinese company. If we look at XPeng and Li, we're going to see the same thing. We'll look at just today for XPeng because they don't have a NIO day coming up. When we look at this one, we can see that double top, and it may have been doing okay, but right at that same moment, and you can see that same progression that we have, we drop below the Bollinger Band. These unusual values didn't react quite as strongly as NIO did, but NIO also had a very strong run, and it was a very big shock. But then it recovered back into within 2 standard deviations of the mean. It recovered quite nicely. If you look at Li, again, there's that 230 time, rips right down. This one didn't react nearly as strongly though. I mean, it was up. It actually had an unusually good day at first, and then came back into these more normal values. So people locked in their profits, and then the news hit, rip down to the mean. I'm actually surprised that this one didn't react more strongly than the other ones. The last company I want to look at, I mentioned Plug Power. Plug had some interesting movement in the post market. I mean, you can just look at this and you can see that gap up even above this resistance level that we have here. This bar opened at 37.51, and it just ripped way up, straight up above $40. And what happened was they were offered $1.5 billion to further develop in South Korea. Here it is. You can see Plug Power, South Korea Group, strategic partnership. So there's that $1.5 billion strategic investment. And that news came out today at 6 p.m. And the first paragraph is all really good news. They mentioned about the rapidly growing Asian market that they have. This second paragraph talks about the ambitious plan that South Korea has to push the hydrogen economy roadmap through 2040. They want to ramp up production to just insane levels with the 1,200 refilling stations, 15 gigawatts of fuel cell power regeneration. And then the big number coming up is that they expect the cumulative economic value of its hydrogen economy to reach about $40 billion by 2040. And the reason Plug has climbed so much as it has, and the reason why they're in the partnership, is this sentence right here, that Plug has proven its ability to scale a hydrogen business in North America as a global leader in the hydrogen economy. So the opportunity with SK, they picked the golden goose. They said, you guys are the leaders. You are the ones that we can see us scaling up our hydrogen production to meet our goals with our hydrogen economy roadmap through 2040. So what happens to Plug Power's stock price from here? I don't know. We are off the roadmap. I don't know if it'll pull back or if it has enough energy that this is going to keep on riding the wave into the next day where we see it spike up even more. We'll see. This might be above what we would expect. It might even be bigger news than we even realize. So to summarize, NIO's got some area of resistance. It's got some good support. It's got a very nice bullish run going to it. NIO Day, I think, is going to be very exciting. I think it's going to be an exciting week following NIO Day, especially if they have really good news for us. Plug Power, keep your eye on it. I think there's going to be some really exciting things happening in their future. Their deal in South Korea, I think, is just the beginning for them. Remember that this video is for entertainment purposes only. If you haven't already signed up for Webull, my link is down in the description. Go ahead and click it, get your 2 free stocks, deposit your $100, get your 2 more free stocks. I'll get my 2 free stocks. Help support the channel, grow this community. We'll continue the good news going. Subscribe, like, notification bell, share it with your friends. I'm Dr. Stock. Thanks for rocking with me. Have a great day. Plug Power had something interesting happen in the after hours. I think that's worth taking a look at also. So put your headphones on.